this question is just asking students to think about a restaurant scenario where the restaurant already has 40 tables or 40 enough booth seating for 40 people, and then is looking to buy additional tables that each seat 6 people, and we have some follow-on questions from that. So what this serves is the reasoning with inequalities and equations section of the Massachusetts high school math standards. So that's an aspect of the algebra content standards. So it mostly just kind of serves parts A and B. So understand solving equations as a process of reasoning and explain the reasoning. So really every step of this process services that. And then solving inequalities in one variable. So it services that as well, because we will touch on inequalities here. So I will shift over to the aspect of actually, as if I would explain how I would explain grading of this to a student. So here's that part. All right, so thank you for chatting with me about how we did on this problem here. So I'll come right out and say you saw this rubric when you're filling out the when you're doing your problem, and it went from 0 points up to 4 points, and where I scored you was right around a 1.5. So let me give you a little bit of reasoning as to where we felt that way. In order to receive full credit, I wanted to see a really strong understanding of patterns, relations, and algebra, and I wanted to see you be able to solve equations, write them, and as well as work with them in the sense of inequalities too. So first up, great job on part A. So I'll come up here. So this question asks for an expression, so it's okay that you didn't write a full equation. This here is an expression, so that works just fine. And I see you incorporated t in there, which is that variable that it told us is going to represent the number of tables. So it's clear here that you understood what this question was asking, and understood that we know that we have enough booths for 40 people, so that doesn't get any variables next to it. It's that the tables that we don't know how many we have yet, but we know that it can serve 6 each. So great job on A. What I'd like to see if you retry this to resubmit is to use what you found in part A so successfully, and see how we can have that influence part B, which would then help influence part C. So let's see what B is asking. Write an inequality that could be used to determine t. So you incorporated t, which is great, into your answer for part T. In order to find the number that Miss Gleason needs to order of tables so that she has enough seating at booths and tables, so enough total seating to seat at least 125 people. So there's a couple of things that I would maybe think about here. So if we had that that expression for A, where we said taking the number of tables, multiplying by 6, then adding 40 onto it, that gives us the total number we need. So if we now are told, hey, we want at least 125 people, can we incorporate part A, instead of having this new variable B, can we incorporate what we have from the part A, as well as that number 125, because we know that that's at least how many people we want. So that's one thing I would think about. I would also think about how, since when we think inequality, there's a couple different symbols. So you have an equal sign here, which could be correct, but I want you to take a look at where it says this at least 125 people. So at least is 126, at least 125? It is. It's at least that. It could be 125, but it also can be greater than 125. So when we think at least, we could be thinking about one of these symbols here. Okay, so I want you to think about that a little bit. If you do decide that you want to keep B in your equation, make sure you define the variables. In A, it's defined for you. but if you introduce new ones, you need to tell us what they mean. Okay, so my suggestion would be to take all that great work in A, see how we can plug that into B, and once we feel good about what we have for B, we're going to actually solve for it. So part C is asking you to take what you did in B and solve it, okay? So C should be an answer, not another equation. Okay, so I think unless you have any specific questions about how to move on from this point, I would say take this, read these notes, and chat with your friends. See if anyone else has any ideas you haven't thought of, and we'll be looking at the higher part of this scale next time. Thanks.